We shall start. I'll start to share my screen. All right. Everyone able to see my screen, right?
Yes, Karthik, we can see.
Yes. So today we'll be seeing about strings. All right. For some testing purpose, I'll be creating some new class called string test. Just clicking on finish. So we all know about string, right? Strings are immutable. Or just let's just talk about string. Strings are collection of sequence of characters. Right? It may be like numbers or letters, capitals, smalls, and special characters. Everything, right? Everything you put together in a sequence of character and you enclose within a double quotes. It's called string, right? So before starting, I just wanted to quickly summarize how string works in Java. Right? So first thing we need to understand, string is a class in Java, right? It is a data type, but still it is a class in Java. So class, by what I mean by class, it's a class will have its own objects and it can perform some it should have methods and it can perform some actions over those objects. Everything can happen in a class type. So same thing happens at, as a string in string also, right? Second thing what we need to understand is like in Java, how a string works is like there is something called string pool where every data gets stored. Right. For example, I'm creating some string randomly, some string, some ABC, some XYZ. All these things are string, right? So everything is a string here, but every string in Java say is getting saved in some area called string pool. For example, what is the purpose of the string pool? It's like how will initiate a string in Java? Even though it is kind of a class, you will just initiate it directly. Something like string A is equal to let's say Monday, right? What will happen if once I do like this particular string Monday will be copied to an area called string pool, right? This is where every string gets stored in Java at the runtime. JVM handles all these things, but a very kind of upset thing happens here. For example, if I create one more string like this, string B, and I just still give the value Monday. Now what happens here is like new string is not created. It Java will go and refer the string pool. It sees the Monday is already present here. It will just point to this B object as a reference to this particular string. It will not go and create new string. It will just refer this particular B object. Okay, hey, there's something in some area in memory. There's a string called Monday. Just refer this memory location. Like the Java will instruct this B, right? That is what is happening. So kind of everyone got my point here. If something like the string A is not there, if we commented out the string A, then this particular Monday is not created in some string pool, right? Then Java will see, okay, this Monday is not there in string pool. Then we should create some new string called Monday and put it in a string pool, then point this particular object to this particular memory location like that. But if string is already created, it will directly point this B object to this memory location. It will not create a new string. So am I clear with this point, everyone? You can post it in chat. Yes or no, anything you can post it in chat. Okay. So with that being said, why Java is doing something is like it makes sense because strings are immutable in Java. Right? So what I mean by immutable is like once you created this string called Monday in this particular memory location, let's say this memory location is um, 0x8e6b. Memory location will be like hex code, right? Something like this. So once this particular string literal is created in a memory location, you cannot go and alter this. You just literally cannot do anything about this. Once it's created, it's created. Right? Maybe once it is created, once every execution is over, just you can mark it as null, right? That's all you can do. Uh, or you memory is deleted. JVM handles its own memory management. Right? What's the biggest advantage of Java? It's like we don't have to care about any memory management here. Java takes care of all the memory management. Like if this particular object is no longer in use, then it will destroy the string by itself. Right? So even that control we don't have. Java will take care. But once this particular string is created, we should understand like it cannot be altered at any time. Right? So I have some examples to show that how it cannot be altered. We'll just see with quick example. Okay, I'll just create a main method here. Um, let's try to create a string here. All right. Let's say let's give some name. Honda. Okay. Sorry. I'll just create one more string with the same Honda, right? So how will you compare anything in Java? Anyone has any idea? Let's leave the string for now. I just wanted to compare two integers, all right? Uh, int a is equal to 1, int b is equal to 1. Right? I just wanted to check if both a and b are equal. How can I do that in Java? I can do something like this, right? If you put double equals, then what I'm doing is like I'm just comparing two variables here. Let's try to run this program now. So it's showing me true, all right. So because both are equal. Now let's try to delete this. Now if I wanted to compare this both two strings, can anyone say what will happen? You can post it in chat like what is the output of this program. Basically, if you put two equals, then it will check for equality and then it prints true or false. Whether if it's equal, it prints true. So if it is not equal, it prints false. So what will be the output of this program?
Strings are objects, right, Karthik?
Yes, it is objects.
So I don't think we can do this kind of comparison with the strings as it's been an object.
No, but object can be compared with the equals operator actually in Java. That is not a
Okay.
problem. Even if you
It will be compared with the memory location or what. So I think it will give false because both are, you said right, both are in different memory location. So
no. I said right. If you create a string like Monday, once it is created, even if I'm going to create another string B with the same text, then it will not create any new text. It is just going to point to the same memory location where this Monday is created, right? In the same 0x8t6b. We are getting the whole idea, right? Once Monday is present in that string literals, in that particular string collection of strings where Java maintains the string pool, if we are trying to create a same string with another object reference, and it will not create a new string for us. It will just refer this B to this memory location.
so string pool will have all the unique values, you're saying that?
Yes.
Okay.
So now what will be the output of this program?
It should be true, right?
Yes, it will be true. It's true, right? Because why it is true? Objects, if we compare objects, Achana, right? Whoever spoke, we are yes, we are comparing only memory locations, but because both Hondas are in the same memory location, it is string one is also pointing to the same memory location, string two is also pointing to the same memory location. Because of that only we are getting true here, not because of comparing Honda and Honda, right? But there is a small problem with this comparison in Java, right? String is a class, right? I just go into this class here. String is ultimately a class. We go to constructor here, right? A string has many constructors. It can take string value as a constructor itself, right? It's a constructors, right? We declare a constructor how access modifier class name itself, and you can pass any arguments, right? And it takes character array as an argument, and it takes character offset count as an argument. But we should understand that string is also class. It has constructor. It has constructor takes arguments, and constructor takes string also as an argument, and it has many methods to do some particular actions over that. Right? But how will you generally initialize a class? Right? We'll say, what's the general notation of initializing a class? Class object name is equal to new class. This is how we initialize a class, right? But can we do something like this? Why can't we do something like this in a string perspective? Why are directly assigning this? It can be still possible in string to do something like this. Delete this. I just say string2 is equal to new string, and inside this constructor I'm passing this Honda as an argument. Now this is also possible in Java, but we generally don't do this. It's kind of not want Java provides this option to us, but generally we don't have to do this because it's kind of too much coding, and it's not necessary because Anyway, Java is immutable. Even if you create this object by initializing its constructor, nothing specifically is going to happen, but it's going to create some problem in your code. Right? Let's try to run this program now. Now it's showing false. So what I said problem, right? This is the problem. Now it's showing false. Why? Because I said about string pool, right? Whatever string we are going to create, it is going to get created in a string pool. But there is one small exception to that. Whenever we create a string using new operator, something like this, new always create a new memory location, right? So what's the purpose of new operator? Why we are creating every object using a new operator? Because new operator work is to create a new memory location for the object created. So by default, even though if it's the same string, it will create a new memory location for this Honda object. That's the problem with strings actually. So only now two memory locations are compared. Now both the memory locations are different. Now it's throwing false as an output. So are we getting here? Getting the point here? Hello? So always new creates a new memory location, unlike we directly assign a string like this. So it's a very bad idea to compare strings using equals operator, because two strings, even though if it's equal, even though Java maintains string literals in a something called string pool, still its address may be different. So that we should not compare the string with the equal operators in Java. Everyone got the point? Post it in chat, or you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, Karthik.
Okay. So the string itself provides a method to compare two string values, right? That method is called equals method. So I just say string is an object, string class has some method called equals method. I just say string2 now, right? Dot equals string2. Now if I try to run this program, it's returning true here, right? Even though we create this new operator, we should always compare. This is a kind of thumb rule in Java. We should always compare string with this particular equals method only, never with equal to operator. So that is one thumb rule in Java, right? This equals method is kind of very important. And there's one very good use case for this. I mean, what equals method does is it doesn't compare the memory location of two strings we provided, but it will take the value from the memory location to compare these values only, Honda and Honda. But there is a small disadvantage to this equals. I mean, it depends upon use case where you are trying to execute. For example, I have a small h here instead of capital H. We'll try to run this. It will throw false, right? Obviously, because both strings are now not equal. Honda and Honda are not equal. So it all because small h is present there. So it says false. So to address this issue, there is another useful method in Java called equals ignore case, right? You can see there's something called equals ignore case. So what this method does is like it will ignore the case sensitivity while comparing two strings. Whatever case sensitive inside we provide doesn't matter. As long as Honda and Honda are there, then we should be good. We just to try to run this program now. So it's returning true, right? Even though if we have some capital N here, should return true, right? We are getting true.
Karthik,
Yes, Shiva.
at this point, like, Java is a case sensitive, right?
Yes.
Right. In that case, like, if the two string values, but we are giving Honda, and Honda is two different like style of the string, right? The characters are different. As you said, like, we we can use this equals ignore case to compare two strings.
Yes.
Okay. Does in that case, like, is this a case sensitive? How does it can justify the case sensitivity? Because we are comparing two different case sensitive strings, right? So is it advisable to use equals ignore?
No, actually, in whatever projects I worked on, equal is ignored case has more use than in kind of equals, actually, because uh, for example, many a times we cannot expect the same value which user is giving to for us to compare, right? For example, let's say a simple example of submitting some form, right? Whenever there's a form fill websites, we are submitting our username, password, and emails, everything, right? And let's say example, we are comparing something to a database and we are validating that, but we cannot expect something user to provide all in a correct form, because many users will type their username in small only, right? I'll be typing something like most of the many people, like, even though my name should start with capitals, I'll be typing in small letter only when I fill the form and all. Or if some default saved names are there, right? Chrome will automatically save some password forms for you. It will try to autofill things for you, and we'll try to submit the form in a hurry. Every time we cannot ensure that proper data is saved, right? So many times we actually use equals ignore case only in Java to compare strings, and it makes sense also because uh, every time we cannot expect a user in this scenario, I'm saying, user to submit a proper form via UI and all. So that is one important thing. Second thing is, like, equals has also its use cases where data should be exactly entered as it should be, uh, and you should compare data as it is in some validation in from UI and all. It has its use cases, but I personally feel equals ignore case has more use cases.
Okay, Karthik. But I was just confused with the case sensitive condition with the Java. So yeah.
Even this particular equals ignore case, we go and see this implementation now. So this will be comparing like this, taking this given compared object like this with this another string, and it will just return for the matches, right? Doesn't check for the actual values. And it will just if we go this region matches method here, as you can see, it is trying to take each and every character. It's trying to convert everything to uppercase, right? Even though if we are giving small case and lower case, what it's trying to do, it's trying to convert everything to uppercase. So obviously two objects will be similar only if everything is converted to uppercase. And it is trying to compare in that way only. It is also comparing, but in general real use case, I think like, it makes sense to use equals ignore case. It depends upon scenario, actually, or what we are testing. Actually, not every scenario makes use of equals or equals ignore case. So talking about two uppercase or two lowercase, there is also one use case for that. Let's just say the string 2. So this particular string class has many useful methods. Let's we can say two lowercase, and it will convert everything to a lowercase, and it will print. It's printing everything in lowercase, right? Even though we have given n as an uppercase, similarly we have two uppercase, it prints everything in uppercase. These are kind of useful methods. I just wanted to quickly discuss about a few very important methods in Java, actually. So one of the thing is like concat method. We know what's a concatenation, right? Anyone can say what's a concatenation?
It's kind of a joining the two strings. Plus, actually, yeah.
Yes. It's kind of plus, right? So we have a concat method itself. For example, let's try to delete this for time being. What I want to do is, like, we have a string string one is equal to Honda, I'm just trying to, there's a concat method in string class. If you go to string class, right? There's some method called concat, right? It is trying to append some string which we pass as an argument to the given string. But I just wanted to quickly give a small example. I'm just saying string one dot concat. Let's append something with the Honda. What Honda cars. Okay. Now, if we try to print string one, can anyone say what is happening here? I mean, what will be the output if we try to print string one? You're getting it. What we are trying to do here, we declared some string called string one as a string, Honda is a string. Okay, why Honda? Why not Honda cars?
You concatenating, but not not storing in some other variable.
Yes, that's precisely the point. It'll print Honda only. Right. So even though this method allows us to concatenate, it is not storing any value returned here, right? Because some Honda cars string will be stored in a string pool, but we are not pointing any object to the particular memory location in the string pool. That is what is happening here. This is very good use example of how immutability works in Java, right? So if I want to the same thing to work, I just can point the same object as a reference to the concatenated object. String one is equal to string one dot concat. So now if we try to print this, it says Honda cars, right? So this is how string works in Java. You cannot just go and manipulate some values in a particular string because strings are immutable. You can just concatenate it and put it in some string pool, but you should point some objects to that particular memory location by as I have done here. Then only you can use the particular string.
I think can we use plus sign instead of concat here?
No, it is not possible. Or you are asking something like this. Asking something like this.
Yes.
Yeah, then it's fine. Then it is possible. I thought of you were asking like in concat method, you were using plus sign or what? No. Like something like this. I thought you were asking. Yes, it's possible. Okay. So this plus method works, plus concatenation works similar to concat, but what are the main plus we use is like we use it in a sysout, right? To concatenate whatever output we get in a sysout. Something like this. You append some values and you can use, let's say this a good card. So this is also possible. Okay. So one more important thing which I wanted to show is like for example, there's one very important method which we have to work in Java to understand what is this Honda here, right? It is kind of a sequence of characters only, right? H is a character, O is a character, N is a character, D is a character, and A is also a character, right? We combine all these characters to form a string, right? What happens here is like I just wanted to take H out of this particular string. Then what should I do? So that is where some one important method comes. I just going to sys out this particular H only. Let's say string. There's one important method called char at, okay, caret. Sorry, string one dot caret. We'll try to print the index 0 and let's see what happens. It is printing H, right? So, but let's put this in some perspective. I'm just taking this and putting it outside. So I cannot do something like this, right? Can anyone say like what is happening? Why I can't do something like this? We are taking H out of it. We have printed this particular thing and we saw H is coming, but I cannot assign it to a new string.
So here are you creating an object?
Here, no, actually the thing is like this caret method. If you go inside, it will return a character only, not a string. That's a difference. So we can just say character. So what I wanted to emphasize here is like even though we are iterating over a particular string, it is going to return a character only each and every time. The return value is not a string, right? So I will see a small programming example with regarding to this caret method, and one more few quick things which I wanted to show, and very useful things like this trim method actually, right? I can have this particular string here uh, with some extra spaces in the back. What I'm going to do is like I'm just going to try to print this. Actually, by printing you cannot see anything. Just try. Let's say we'll append something here actually. Honda cars. Okay, not here. We'll append something here. So if you try to run this program now, it will say with a lot of spaces which we have provided says Honda cars, right? But there is one very good method to eliminate this trailing or leading spaces. You have this trim method. Now all the spaces are eliminated here actually. So this trim method is kind of useful where you want to eliminate some spaces and store some values. So that is the main use case of this trim method. Even it eliminates some trailing spaces also. Let's check. So this space comes from the space which I have given here. We'll try to run this. So you're getting it right. So trim method is kind of trimming the ends of the particular string, right? And one more good method is kind of replace actually. We'll just try to use that method. We'll just try to replace this n with some other capital N or something. String one dot replace we'll just try to replace this a small n with a capital N. Just try to run this again. So it has replaced, right? So there is one more method called replace all actually. I'll just quickly say what is the difference between replace all and this replace all method, which takes two arguments. We'll just quickly pass the two same thing here, n and capital N. We'll just try to run this program again. It's doing the same thing, right? So can anyone say me what is the difference between a replace and replace all then? Anyone knows this difference? When we try to put replace, it replaced n with capital N. When we try to put replace all, it is doing the same.
So in a word, if there will be multiple n, then it will replace all n's.
Okay, let's try to check that also. We'll put n here. We'll try to run this. Okay, now we'll try to replace all with the replace, right? We'll try to run this. Again, it's doing the same thing, right? So we should understand like replace and replace all does the same thing except for one major difference. The replace all can take a regex as an argument. We are aware of regular expressions, right? What's a regular expression and all. So we can say like this particular, we can represent this particular sequence of string with some set of characters, so that, for example, let's take we have some trailing spaces, spaces here in our particular string. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to say something like this. Let's try to run this. Sorry. Okay, replace all, right? Sorry. So if just give me a second. Okay, let's put some other example actually. Okay. This example will hold good. So what is a regular expression is like we are assigning some sequence of characters, and we are saying that, okay, whenever you find this set of characters with a small notation like something like this, we replace with something like this, right? We are saying like this. So what is happening here is like, this is a regular, a very common regular expression actually. If we say with the open and close square bracket 0 to 9, the Java will know, okay, whenever we find some numbers in the string with some 0 to 9, 0 to 9 means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So all this is a possibility when we say 0 to 9. So whenever you find this, replace with k. That is what it is happening here, right? So whenever it is finding 1, 2, 3 at the end, it knows, then the regex will know then it is a number which is falling under 0 to 9 thing. Then we should replace it with k, right? We can continue adding regex something like regex like this. Let's say we are rejecting it with 0 to 9 as well as this a to z, right? Now it will take both the things as example. Put So this particular regex is taking some example, replacing just this without replacing this 3, right? So this regex works for this particular one only, right? 1 and 3. This it doesn't work with 2 because we are saying like just take the even numbers alone like that. So regex can be combined in multiple forms to use differently, and we can replace these particular strings with the patterns, right? So this is kind of very useful when a string is very large and you want to replace particular patterns of strings with some other values, and you are reading a very large file, and there are some unwanted characters here. You want to replace that with an empty space. You can do with the empty space. We can replace this with the empty space also. So that k will be eliminated, right? You can do those things also with regex. So one key difference between replace and replace all is using regex. That's the only key difference actually, right? And okay, and there are other useful methods like ends with, I just say 2 3 here. Just try to sys out this. So now it will return true, false. Okay. Oh, sorry, it's equal set. So now it will return true. So like these kind of useful methods are there, ends with and begins with, and those kind of things you can use. So one very quick problem which I wanted to show is like most of the interviews I kind of got this problem actually, reversing a string, right? Like for example, uh, let's say string some sample is equal to, and okay, if I wanted to reverse this thing, what will be my output? MOS NAR, right? So this case is the most common problem which I always encounter in interviews. How will you reverse a string? There's a method in a class called string buffer to reverse a string. You can go and refer in Google Docs actually. Right, but we'll not try to use this method actually. It's very kind of, people will not expect. We just have this reverse method in a class called string buffer to reverse a string. It will print the reverse string actually like this. But what we will do, we'll try to implement this with our own thing. But as I said, string is immutable, right? But there's one very important class in Java called string builder. Like everyone is available. I mean, aware about what's a string builder class in Java, or anyone have heard about that actually? So string builder is a kind of a way where you can go and build a string using some characters or using some strings itself. It's kind of an indirect way of doing some what to say, concatenation and concatenation of characters, and finally getting the final thing as a string. Using string builder only, you can go and append some characters uh, over a loop, and you can just get a string out of that. Get a character append or get a string append, then you can build a string from that, right? Everyone heard about this class called string builder in Java? Okay, the string builder class has many use cases actually. Let's try to create an object for the string builder actually. Let's, right. So I just wanted to quickly iterate through this ransom object or run some string. I just wanted to reverse it. Okay, so I can just use simple for loop for this. So what will be my conditions for a for loop? I should start from the end, right? So to start from the end, I should know its length. Yes, the string class has some method called length also, which will return the length of the entire string. So we'll try to test that now. I just say integer I is equal to 0. So not 0. I will assign the I as the length, entire length of the string. Let's take the sample string and just say sample dot length. But we cannot just use length as it is, because every index in Java starts with 0. Even strings index starts with 0. So h index will be 0 and so on. And final index will be, this 3's index will be length minus 1. So we should say length minus 1. And until what condition I need to iterate is like I should be greater than or equal to 0. And I should reduce the I value in each and every iteration. I will say I minus minus. So what I wanted to do here is like I just have to get this character from the back, and I just have to append using string builder and build a new string. We'll try to do this. There's a method called append method in string builder class. Try to make use of that. sb.append. If you see this append method, you can append a boolean, you can append a character, you can append a character string, character sequence, you can append a double float int long. So append method has many takers, right? You can append any string also, character also. So you can append string here, you can append an object. So anything you can append here. We'll try to append a character here actually, right? So what character I'm going to append? Character which I got from the last from this string actually. So I'll just say sample dot character at I, right? So after all this for loop, what I'm trying to do, I'll just try to sys out this SB object by converting it to toString. Just try to run this program. So it is reversed, right? So using this kind of a class like string builder, you can go and build a string actually like this. So string builder is very useful in these kind of scenarios. So everyone got the point here?
So this reverse feature is only be done with this string only, or any other way is there?
Sorry, I didn't get.
This reverse method is only available with string only, or
No.
other
You
way
should
is
actually. The thing is like I just wanted to give some example about how reverse method is actually there in some class called string buffer. Actually, I'll just show that class actually. Right? You can just say something like this. So you can build an object like this, right? The string buffer class has some method called reverse. If you go and see here, it will reverse like this. Reversing logic they have given like this. But what I was trying to address is like you should not use whenever in any interview if they ask to reverse a string, uh, like most of the programming will not address this. But you should also understand there's some class called string buffer which has reverse method. Through that also you can reverse a string. What I was trying to suggest is like you should not use that reverse method to reverse a string if asked in any interviews. You can obviously use it in your code program logics to real-time projects, because implementation is already there. But whenever asked in an interview, you should not use this particular string buffers reverse method. Reverse method is not available in a string class. It is available in a class called string buffer. So that's what I was meant to say. So you should write your own string logic here, so that you can reverse a string like this.
Karthik, what will happen if we print directly statement to the append statement, like sysprint out with sb.append sample.caret I?
Just printing, you're saying you will print like this.
Yeah.
Okay. Just try to do it actually. So the output which we are getting is not kind of a string actually. That is the problem. So for example, if we try to assign this to a string, let's say.
I think when we're doing that, it's a for loop, right? It's print one character by character, but we are not printing as a whole. I think that's the reason
Yes,
Karthik
no.
used out of the loop.
Now, one more thing which I want to show is like the printed output is not actually string. So only I wanted to show this example. See, we are just appending here something here, and this append method. Let's go to this append method. This append method has a type of string builder, not string, right? What I mean to say is like you cannot just go and say do something like sp.append. I'll just append some character here. So it's throwing me an error, right? What it's throwing? Type mismatch, right? So whatever we are trying to print here, it's not actually string. That's what I'm meaning to say. It is going to print something, but it is of okay. Let's comment this. It is going to print something in the reverse, but what I mean to say is like it is not actually string which you are seeing here. It's of a, this m or mo is of a type string builder. So only you cannot assign something like this directly to a string. You should always do something called toString, and then only you should you can just convert it to a string actually. Now it's possible, right? So I just was saying about this. No, I hope I was not confusing actually. So string builder, you can print the object. It will print the object, but it is not of type string actually. So whenever you use string builder object, Java itself will throw some compile time error, but it is always some good practice to always do something like this dot to string method to convert the final result to string actually.
Karthik, it is necessary to initialize string builder. Can't we directly revert with the help of string?
No, string doesn't have a reverse method, right?
But we didn't use a reverse method here, right? We are just initialize for loop and then we are reverting it. Can't we
Yes.
directly
Use reverse method, or what you're asking?
okay.
No. You're asking can't we use directly reverse method, or what? You're asking that question.
No, I was just asking ki, we have initialized string builder and then we are using string builder object and then an append function to revert the string. My point is, can't we use a sample variable directly to reverse the string rather than string builder?
Sample variable like how? Can you just say you will just do it and see? Without let's forget the string builder is there. Right. So what logic is there to reverse a string? What are you suggesting?
Directly sample.caret.
Okay. Okay. It will return a character, right? So how will you? We should have some mechanisms to combine this character sequence into a actual string, right?
Can't we use dot to string? Will it convert caret I ke baad to string? No.
No, right.
Okay.
So the thing is like this caret method is present inside the string class itself. So how it will has to convert into toString, and if you see its return type, it's character only. Right? It doesn't go and append the methods as we see in our previous examples. So you cannot do something like this because it returns only character and doesn't return a string. And to iterate to each and every character in a string, this is only possible method, caret method. So there should be some kind of programming logic where you have to combine all these characters and put it in one place and finally convert that into a string. So for that purpose only, the string builder is there, and string builder is designed for that purpose only. As class name itself suggests, right? It's a string builder. So it builds a string to whatever arguments we provide. So in this particular case, the argument is a character. You cannot use concat method also, as we saw, because again it is a character array, right? It's not a string actually. Even though if you use concat method, what will happen? It will concat everything into a string only again, right? You use n number of resource for that. Concat something, put it to a string literal, concat put it to a string literal. It is a kind of resource heavy operation, and it's not wise to use that kind of thing also, right? So simple thing is use string builder. It will store all the appended string in a one common area, and it will just try to finally do a toString, and we'll try to print the string itself. No, did that answer the question, or looking for something else?
No, it's clear.
Okay, only one thing is to remember is like never use a inbuilt reverse method in interviews. That's the whole point. So use a string builder, you iterate and append that string to a string builder. And finally convert this string builder to a string object and print it. That's the whole idea. Actually, most of the programmers, interviewers will look for this logic only, whether getting this logic right or not. This, if you're good with this for loop logic, then it should be very simple remaining things. I think I covered most of the things in strings. I think this should be good enough to start with string. Again, we can have string arrays also, something like this. So I have initialized with 3 array size, right? We can just say string array of 0 is equal to something. So this is also, sorry. So this is also possible. You can initial string array also, and each and every element in a string array is a string. So this string, this particular 0th element will also have all the methods which a string class contains. You can see it has also all the methods, right? So are we kind of cool with strings? Is everything fine? Can we wrap up the session?
So Karthik, in line number 25,
Okay.
so he written I equal to sample dot length. So what is you have used sample dot length?
Okay, let's before this logic, let's try to print this length itself. Actually, we'll use this out here. There's a method called length in string class. The sample is an object, right? String object which refer to this value ransom, right? Let's try to print the length of this. Okay, try to off. So now if you try to run this program, it has 6 characters, right? Ransom has 6 characters. So it's printing. But what's the so only I'm iterating. Since we have to reverse the string, I have to come from the end, right? So what I'm trying to do, I'm just finding this total number of length. I'm just coming from this last character, which is the length of character -1. Why it's a length of characters -1? Because every index starts with 0. R is 0th index, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this M will be present at the index 5, right? So only, even though the length is 6, I am iterating from length -1 element, which is M. And what is my logic? I am checking if now in this particular first iteration, the value of I will be 5. Okay, I'll be checking of condition. If I is greater than equal 0, it's greater than equal, it is obviously greater than 0. So I'm just decreasing one value of I here and just appending this value to a string builder. What that value I'm appending in the first iteration? Appending M. Okay, so it will come to second iteration. Now the I value is reduced to 4, right? So it will check for condition. Now 4 is again greater than 0. Then so it will append this fourth index value here, O. So MOS, it will go on append the logic like this. Only I used a length method here. I'm using length because I have to come from the reverse to get the characters from the reverse until the beginning. Find it.
Yes.
So everyone, are we clear here? This particular reversing of string, at least I would have got this question in 10 12 interviews. Kind of simple only, but I don't know why people still ask this. So can we wrap up the session then?